All right. Well, good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to today's Heroes Connect Military to Manufacturing event, where we're going to continue the conversation with one of our newest manufacturers. Let me first introduce myself. My name is Rachel, and I am the Director of Program Operations for the Heroes Make America program, and I will be moderating today's event. Today, we are featuring a company that I know most of you have heard of and may even own or have driven one of their products before. We have with us automotive manufacturer General Motors. We are excited to have you learn more about this familiar brand and how your skills can translate into the variety of positions they have. We do these events to not only introduce you to a potential employer, but to also connect you with an employer who is actively seeking military talent. Most importantly, though, we aim to help our broader military community better understand the manufacturing industry as a whole. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. Before we jump into today's event, let's review some quick housekeeping items. First, this event is being recorded and will be sent out as part of a recap email. Please be sure that you stay muted throughout the presentation to minimize background noise. Lastly, although our mics are muted, I still encourage you to be an active participant. Utilize the chat feature during the presentation to drop in questions that you have, and we will answer those questions at the end of the presentation during the Q&A portion. Overall, events like this are your opportunity to join the discussion and ask questions of these industry leaders who you may not normally have access to. And while you're doing that, for those of you who may not be familiar with Heroes Make America, we are a DoD approved SkillBridge and Army Career Skills program that is open to transitioning service members, veterans, reservists, National Guardsmen, and military spouses. We provide a variety of certification trainings equipping our students for rewarding careers in the manufacturing and supply chain industry. You can see here our program managers and the 4 current training pathways that we offer in manufacturing operations, logistics, industrial systems, and now our newest pathway for aircraft mechanics to earn their FAA airframe and power plant certification. We will drop our contact information into the chat so you'll be able to connect with us if you do have any questions. And if you'll take a moment, I missed it a moment ago, go ahead and drop your location in the chat as well. The last thing I want to be sure to mention that in addition to our SkillBridge training offerings, we also host a variety of other virtual events to include in-person and virtual career fairs for you to directly connect with employers. We will drop in the upcoming events and registration links in the chat for you to check out. You can see here our 2 in-person career fairs slotted for the summer at our Fort Stewart in Georgia and Fort Cavazos in Texas. Keep an eye on the Heroes Make America social channels for updates on registered employers and more details on the career fairs. Now, let's move on to today's featured company with our first speaker, Emily, Talent Acquisition Manager with General Motors. Emily, the floor is all yours.
Thank you, and hi everyone. We are super excited to be here. Thank you to Heroes Connect for inviting us and giving us this opportunity. Like Rochelle mentioned, I am a talent acquisition program manager here at GM, and I also have the privilege of leading our aligned and integrated veteran talent strategy, where I get to focus on how we attract, support, and grow our veteran and military connected talent across our organization. So before we get started, if you could go to the next slide, please. I really just wanted to start with a very sincere thank you for your service, your sacrifice, and for the sacrifice that your families have made right alongside of you. It is Military Appreciation Month, so this conversation feels especially meaningful. Whether you're active duty, a veteran transitioning to your next chapter, or even a military spouse who is exploring new opportunities, we're really glad to have the opportunity to connect with you all and share more about who we are and what we stand for. So to kick things off, we'll start with a quick video that highlights how our company has led the way in our industry and how we continue to push forward with the innovation in everything that we do today. It's a great snapshot of the mindset that drives us.
From the electric self-starter more than a century ago to the EV battery platforms of today, GM never stops innovating. Time and again, we've set the standard for the industry, making the driving experience better and creating icons of American culture along the way. Today, GM continues to push forward on innovation in sustainability and electric mobility. Our revolutionary EV architecture offers modularity, range, performance, and faster charging times, and it's just going to keep getting better. GM's software architecture enables vehicles to adapt and upgrade over time with over-the-air updates. On the horizon, our work on autonomous vehicles will help support safer roads and greater accessibility for all. From the assembly line to the electric highway, GM keeps innovating, fueled by a vision of zero crashes, zero emissions, and zero congestion. Together, we drive an era of progress.
Awesome. So that video, I feel, does a really great job of just setting the tone, because truly at our core, we're a company that's always moving forward. Innovation really just isn't part of what we do, it's who we are. We pioneer the innovations that move and connect people to what matters, and that mission shows up in every part of our business. We're, as the video said, working toward a world of zero crashes, zero emissions, and zero congestions. Yes, it's bold, but we believe that it's what the future demands, and we're committed to getting there. Next are people. So here in the US, we employ nearly 92,000 folks, and globally that number grows to about 165,000. We are headquartered in Detroit, Michigan, but we have more than 150 facilities across the US that include about 15 assembly plants and 24 stamping, propulsion, component, and battery plants. Globally, our manufacturing operations stretch across 6 different continents, 22 time zones, and 75 languages. So it's really a worldwide effort. Then there's our commitments, and this part is really personal to me. We're focused on creating a world by investing in our people, protecting our environment, and giving back to our communities. That means enabling our employees, our customers, dealers, and suppliers of all backgrounds and abilities to thrive in our company. It means driving toward an all-electric, zero-emission future, and one that's equitable and inclusive. And it means making an impact on the communities where we live and work, whether it's creating jobs, to supporting local economies, and giving back in meaningful ways. And finally, our brands. We're really proud of the wide range of brands under our umbrella, each that have their own personality, technology, and purpose, and all designed to meet the different mobility needs and lifestyles. I'll show you some of those in just a minute, but first I want to give you just a visual sense of how far our footprint extends. Next slide. So as I mentioned, we have a widespread presence across the country with more than 150 facilities and over 90,000 employees. But when you really zoom out, the scale of what we do and the impact that we make becomes even more clear. So the reach comes with real impact. In 2022 alone, GM contributed over 39 billion to the US GDP, which is nearly a quarter of all GDP generated by US car manufacturers. And with over 4,000 dealerships nationwide, we are not just building vehicles, we're also helping drive local economies every day. Next slide. Okay, so now that you've seen where we are and what we stand for, I want to give you a quick look at what we build. So these are a few of the products from 4 of our well-known brands designed with performance, safety, and innovation in mind. So starting with the Corvette ZR1, this is really a performance machine. It gets up to a top speed of 233 miles per hour, goes from 0 to 60 time in just 2.3 seconds, and it's already set 5 new production car lap records in the US track tour. And what's really cool about this vehicle is that it's been designed and developed entirely in-house. So everything from design to engineering to validation to record setting. Next is the Buick Enclave, which is a completely different kind of vehicle, but it's just as impressive in its own way. It's the largest in its class, featuring an ultra-wide 30-inch diagonal screen, multicolor ambient interior lighting, and Super Cruise, which is our hands-free driving technology. It's also packed with a ton of safety features like front pedestrian braking with cyclist detection, blind zone steering assist, and rear cross traffic braking. Next slide, please. So now let's take a look at some of our GMC products, starting on the left with the 2026 Sierra EV, shown here both in the AT4 and the Elevation trims. The Elevation is built for everyday capability with a really solid mix of power and technology. And then the AT4 is designed more for off-road performance. It's got a really rugged look and some really serious hardware that can handle some of that more tougher terrain. Next, you'll see the Hummer EV SUV and pickup. And the pickup was really our first all-electric Hummer and helped kick off the GMC EV lineup. One of the standout features is rear wheel steering, which lets it make tight turns, which is something that you would not really expect from a truck this size. The SUV version is a little bit more compact with a shorter wheelbase and a higher departure angle, which can be a plus for off-roading. It also has enclosed storage, so for folks who prefer that over, a truck bed, it gives you a more secure space in the back. Next slide, please. And then to wrap up the product, there we go. To wrap up the product section, here are a couple of vehicles from our Cadillac brand, my personal favorite, both fully electric and both focused on blending technology, design, and comfort. So the 2025 Lyriq is actually currently the best-selling luxury vehicle in Michigan. It has an estimated 326 miles of range, and it can get up to 86 miles of range in just 10 minutes of charging. On the inside, there's a 33-inch curved LED screen with 9K resolution, and it comes with over 20 safety and driver assistance features. We also have the 2026 Escalade IQL, which is a 3-row EV SUV, and it really builds on everything that the Escalade is known for, but with a fully electronic platform. It features a 24-inch wheels, which are the largest that we've ever put on an Escalade, and a curved 55-inch screen that stretches across the entire front row. Next slide. All right, so as much as we're focused on innovation and performance, culture is truly at the heart of how we operate. And this slide captures how we show up, not just in what we do, but how we do it. Our core values, which are customers, excellence, relationships, and truth, guide every decision that we make. But what really brings them to life are the behaviors themselves that we practice every day. We talk a lot about winning with integrity, which is doing the right thing even when it's hard. That means being honest, transparent, respectful, and always putting safety first. We also embrace change and move with urgency because we live in a fast-moving world and we know we can't stand still. Whether we get it right or not, we learn from it and move forward. Leading as one team is a huge one for us. It really just means working together, supporting each other, and understanding that we don't succeed unless we do it together. We're committed to putting the customer at the center of everything we do, creating products and experiences that really meet their needs with the quality and affordability in mind. And we've built a culture where people are encouraged to speak fearlessly, to respectfully challenge ideas, give feedback, be candid, because that's how we get better. And finally, we believe in owning the outcome, really holding ourselves and each other accountable for results and doing what it takes to get things done the right way. There's a quote from our CEO, Mary Barra, that I feel really sums this up, which reads, "There's a direct link between how we behave and the results we drive. It's not just what we do that matters, it's how we do it. And that mindset is what allows us to thrive, not just right now, but into the future." All right. So one of the things that I really appreciate about working at GM is how many different paths there are. We're a very large global company, and that means that there's a wide range of skills and experiences, really something that fits almost every background and skill set. So you'll see a few examples here, but that's just the start. We also have roles in everything from HR, legal, finance, creative design, to medical, workplace safety, and motorsports. What I will say is right now there's a strong focus on hiring skilled trades professionals across many of our manufacturing sites. We're also investing in our apprenticeship program because what we're trying to do is look for the next generation of tradespeople who will help build a better, safer, and more equitable all-electric future. This program helps participants build the foundational skills that they need to become eligible for that journey person role in their skill and trade of choice. Engineering is another space where we're always looking for talent. This team is one that pushes boundaries, rethinks tools, embraces agility, and really plays a key role in building that all-electric future. Software is another one. It's a fast-growing space, and our software engineers are shaping some of the most tech-driven changes in the history of transportation. They're building native, world-class EV software experiences from the ground up. And of course, I cannot forget manufacturing. Our team here is expanding our EV portfolio, which is helping us get closer to that vision of 0, 0, 0. So whether it's salaried or hourly roles, our manufacturing employees work together to honor both our legacy while building a cleaner, safer, and more sustainable future. I also want to give you a quick overview of what our hiring process usually looks like, just to know what to expect. It starts with the job posting and the sourcing phase, where recruiters are identifying and reaching out to potential candidates. From there, candidates are reviewed, and those who move forward are typically scheduled for about a 30-minute phone screen with a recruiter. If that goes well, the recruiter will present your information to the hiring manager, who will then choose to schedule an interview. Most of those interviews are about an hour, and our interview scheduling is handled through a virtual assistant, which helps make the process a little more seamless and efficient. For certain roles, especially in the tech and software space, there may be an assessment after the phone screen, but for the majority of the roles, that step isn't required. After the interviews are complete, the team will sit down, debrief, and then make a decision. And in some cases, there may be a second round of interviews, but again, most roles only require one round. If you are selected, you'll be given an offer by the recruiter, and if you choose to accept, you'll then move into pre-employment, where a background check is required before starting. This is just a general process for most of the salaried roles, though I do want to say it's worth noting that for early career roles or some hourly positions, the steps may look a little bit different. All right, so earlier I mentioned, or you may have seen on the previous slide, that defense is one of the career areas at GM, and I just want to take a moment to spotlight what that really means. GM Defense is a subsidiary of General Motors that's focused specifically on providing mobility solutions for military and government customers. While the broader GM business serves individuals and commercial markets, GM Defense is purpose-built for the defense space. So designing, engineering, and building vehicles and technologies that support mission readiness and tactical operations. So there's really three main areas that set GM Defense apart from General Motors, and one of which is the focus area. So GM Defense is developing solutions tailored specifically for defense needs. Their product offerings are everything from tactical vehicles to integrated support systems. And then their customer base, they work directly with military and government partners, where GM serves drivers and businesses. Before we talk about where GM Defense is today, I think it's important to acknowledge that our connection to the military didn't start recently. It's been more than a century in the making. The photos here are just a snapshot of that legacy. So in World War I, GMC delivered 13,000 Model 16 trucks to the US Army, many of which were used as ambulances. During World War II, more than 21,000 DUKWs were built. So these are amphibious vehicles used to move troops and supplies over land and water. And then during the Korean War, we developed 9,000 M35 military trucks in multiple configurations to support operations. It's really a proud part of our story, but we've come a long way since then. Next slide. So fast forward a little bit, and in 2017, GM reestablished GM Defense as a wholly owned subsidiary with a clear mission to bring the best of GM's commercial innovation to the defense space. We're focused on three core areas. One is integrated vehicles, power and propulsion, and mobility and autonomy, all tailored, again, specifically for military, government, and security applications. And we've moved very quickly. In just a few years, GM Defense has earned major contract awards, built a world-class production facility, grown a highly experienced team, and secured teaming agreements with other defense and tech organizations, all while continuing to innovate in R&D. In 2020, we secured our first major contract, the infantry squad vehicle, the first photo you'll see here, for the US Army, which is a lightweight, highly mobile troop transporter based on the Chevy Colorado ZR2. By May of 2021, we opened our ISV production facility, which is in Concord, North Carolina, and we went from construction to full production in just 90 days, applying GM's high volume manufacturing processes in a low rate defense setting. And then again in 2021, we were awarded another contract. This one was with the Department of State to develop the next gen large support utility vehicles for the Diplomatic Security Service. Beyond those milestones, GM Defense is actively building out a global pipeline with pursuits spanning the DoD, NASA, and international defense markets, all focused on building a more connected, electric, and autonomous future for military mobility. So bottom line here is today's missions are more complex, threats are more advanced, and really the status quo just doesn't cut it anymore. So that's where GM Defense comes in. It's a non-traditional GM defense company. We move with speed and agility like a startup, but then backed by the scale and innovation of GM. Great example of that, after delivering our first ISV in just 120 days, we didn't stop there. We took that same platform in just 12 weeks, turned it into an all-electric military concept vehicle. So being able to take proven platforms and adapt them very quickly to meet the evolving needs of today's military is something we believe sets us apart. And the really exciting thing is we are just getting started. So we'll show you a quick video now that brings to life the ISV, and then I'm going to pass it over to John to talk about our employee resource group.
The infantry squad vehicle, bringing rapid mobility to the battlefield with increased transportability, based off of the award-winning Chevrolet Colorado ZR2, delivering 90% commercial off-the-shelf parts, including Chevrolet Performance off-road racing components, proven in grueling desert races and 2,200 hours of customer testing. Quality, durability, performance. We are GM Defense.
All right, great stuff there, Emily. Thank you very much. Tough act to follow, but I'll do my best. So for everybody on the call, my name is John Gilmer. I am the communications lead for the Veterans ERG. I work in finance as an analytics leader here, though, so I'll get to why that's significant in a second. But as you can see here, the goal of the Veterans Employee Resource Group spans multiple pillars, and we're an all-volunteer group. So these are folks that are already working at GM, embedded across nearly all of the functions here. And our goal is to ease that transition from active duty to civilian life for folks who are newly transitioned, accelerate the career development of folks who are already here. We want to ensure that our reserves and National Guard members who are at GM excel in both lives that they live, and we also want to provide community outreach opportunities for the folks who want to continue to serve after leaving the service. So next slide, please. Just some key stats here. We have over 5,000 veterans that represent both salary, hourly, and even contract employees here at GM. Roughly 1 in 5 of them are actually part of our group. We have a long but humble history of 24 years. We started off as a very simple affinity group that just brought together veterans at different social outings, but we've matured since then into a full-blown resource group that actually provides business value to GM every year. We have a great structure in place that allows us to engage in several of those activities that I mentioned earlier. And we also have executive leadership that sponsors all of those things so that we can continue to be effective in those 4 areas. Next slide, please. As I mentioned before, I am the communications lead, but my day job is within finance. So there's, as Emily alluded to earlier, there are a lot of different functions across GM, and our group definitely has exposure to all of them. So you don't have to be an engineer, you don't have to be in IT. In fact, we have everyone who joins GM is welcome to join our group. That includes veterans and our non-veteran allies. Next one, please. All right, so if you are, I'll give way to the panel for just a minute, but before that, if you do happen to join GM, if you happen to join the GM family, we'd love to hear from you and see what kind of ways that we can help you get engaged. Our contact information is right there. We hope that you'll join us, but thank you for the time, and I will hand it over to Graham to start the panel discussion.
Thanks, John. I'm Graham Sloan. I'm a manager in our autonomous driving and active safety space. If you don't know what that means, it's all those fancy new whiz-bang features if you bought a new car recently that brakes your car if you're not paying attention, and all the way up through the feature that Emily mentioned, which is our award-winning Super Cruise hands-free driving feature. So that's what me and my team work on. Joining me today are Craig Weaver, Kevin Johnson, and Travis Collier. Their main background is in manufacturing and GM Defense. So I'll let them each give a little bit of their background. Personally, I'm a Marine Corps veteran. I transitioned after a 20-year career and have been with GM ever since. Happy to share with you some advice and some stories about both our transitions and our experiences here at GM. So Craig, maybe I'll go with you first if you want to give a brief introduction before we get into some questions to share with the folks.
Absolutely. Thank you, Graham. My name is Craig Weaver. I'm a Marine Corps veteran. I served from the years 2005 to 2009 and served in Operation Iraqi Freedom. I was a field radio operator in the Marine Corps and transitioned out where I didn't know programs like this existed. So it was kind of an interesting way to kind of transition, and I leveraged some skills that not only were related to my MOS, but just other things we've done in the military. And I'll be honest, leveraging my leadership skills in the background to get entered into GM was the way to go for me. And I love it here. Everybody here makes me feel welcomed. I'm happy to be here and glad to be able to have an opportunity to tell you my story.
Thanks, Craig. Kevin, you want to go next?
Sure. So I was in the Army for a bit over 20 years. I was a aircraft mechanic and a door gunner on Black Hawk helicopters. Doesn't directly translate to General Motors. They don't have a lot of machine guns out here. But that leadership skill that Craig was talking about is what I was going after. So I ended up interviewing with a whole bunch of different companies: Microsoft, Lockheed Martin, GM, and Meta, the old Facebook. But yeah, it took me a bit, and it was somebody that was part of the Veterans ERG group that actually hired me into General Motors all those years ago.
Thanks. Last but not least, our Air Force veteran, Travis.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Yeah, fairly new to the company, but first off, I was in the Air Force, C-130 mechanic during Desert Storm. Worked on the jet engines. I was in Mildenhall, England. I was stationed stateside most of the time in Biloxi, Mississippi. Had a great time in the service, and had a great time with GM so far. I've been with them a little over 4 years. Transition, I've been out of the service for a while before I joined the great team on GM Defense, which I'm very happy to say I've been working with GM Defense, like I said, for 4 years. We build the ISV and the SUV, the HD SUV. It's a great product, great team. We have an awesome team. I was one of the first of 4 hired at GMD build ISV, and we have a team, I think, of over 70 now. And we used to build 4 a week. Now we're building 5 a day. So it's a great process we're going through. Great program, great team, and I've enjoyed every step of the way so far, and just looking forward to see what the future brings. We have a lot to offer a lot of people.
Thanks, Travis. Yeah, that's awesome. That ISV and that video, if that doesn't get you pumped up, I don't know what will. So,
Yes, sir.
all right. Well, I think we all mentioned our transition. Craig, it sounded like you definitely had some insights to share. Maybe I'll start with you. Can you start and share some of your experiences and challenges, how you might have overcome them, and then what resources that you found to be most helpful?
Absolutely. So, yeah, when I got out of the Marine Corps in 2009, it took me about a year to get a job. My resume was because I graduated high school and 18 days later I was in boot camp. So I knew when I was 7 years old, that's what I was going to do. Nothing was going to change my mind. So when I got out in 2009, I made the decision that to get out, and then I couldn't find a job. My resume was a half page of Iraq and being a field radio operator attached to an infantry unit. And nobody would call me back for an interview. And like I said, programs like this, if they existed back then, I didn't know, so I didn't have that resource. So word of mouth from a buddy of mine who worked in retail told me I should just take a part-time job. They needed people, so it started as a part-time job, and it turned into an 8-year, actually a great career. And I'm going to tell you, it was with Walmart. And I worked my way from part-time to operations manager of store, and then transitioned out of operations, where I was able to utilize a lot of skills that I learned in the military that didn't actually correlate with my MOS, but still were skills that the military trained me on, which was, of course, operation leadership. And I built a reputation within that company where not only would I build an excellent team, I would teach and train them to get them developed to not only be better people, but leaders within the company, where then they would get promoted and go and do the same thing to other buildings. So within that 8 years, I actually was in 7 different buildings. And my last year with the company, I transitioned away from operations to asset protection management, where I had 2 buildings. And from there, then I decided that that's when I started to get into like compliance. So one thing that happens within the military, and it took me a long time to realize this, is everything we did was for a reason, and it gave us skills that we never realized we had. So when you go through a uniform inspection or anything like that, something to think about is we're going over attention to detail. There's a manual, there's a process, there's a standard. So something that for me, I took with that once I transitioned from operations to a protection or a compliance role, auditing. Auditing people, making sure the process made sense, everybody knew the process, teaching and training everybody on the standards, and making sure we were compliant. And from there, I did that within my retail career, and then transitioned into manufacturing with a small company where they have a DoD contract. We built computers for the government, all kinds of different companies. And it was a small company. And if you've never worked for a small company, it's a different environment. So after a couple of years, I decided that I needed to go to something bigger. And my wife, she just left General Motors, and she had nothing but good things to say, but a different opportunity came up. And I never thought I had an opportunity to work for General Motors. There was no skills that I had, no certificates that I had that I thought. However, as a leader in my operation skills, I knew that I could leverage that. So in 2022, I applied to be a group leader for a production team, and it took a while. The interview process was a couple months long for me, and I leveraged my leadership skills. And once I got in, they gave me 2 technical teams. I was in a paint shop, and I had a maintenance team and a production team. And I was able to come in really quick. Everybody kind of took me under their wing. Yes, I still had to earn the trust and respect of the team. I mean, that's what happens, but they instantly realized that with my skills and my background, that I'd be able to manage the 2 types of teams. And in downtime scenarios, because yes, sometimes things break, and we have to get the line up and running real quick, and it's kind of stressful and hectic, and you got a lot of moving parts. So they knew, because of my background in stressful scenarios, that I'd be able to coordinate the correct trades, process engineers, all the right people in the right place in a fast manner to get our line up and running, because time is money in manufacturing. And then a year after that, I transitioned to the quality assurance management role, where again, auditing standards, process, things like that was key. But I knew I always wanted to go back into engineering, and I wanted to do something there. So I took a role as a process engineer for a little bit. And then when these two quality systems that opened up as a quality engineer role, which I manage two systems now that basically ensure that no product with any defects get out to our customers so we can protect them. When that role opened up, I had to be a part of it, because as much as I enjoy leading, when I'm given a team, my teams have always been, 12, 15, 20 people here, but I'm used to leading larger teams. And that's not going to happen real quick or early on in my career. So I knew that I needed to be in more of a support role. And the role that I have now, I impact everybody in this plant. So, when we open up back up, we're going to have over, who knows, 1,500, 2,000 people in here, and everybody's going to know my name, and I'm going to be the guy that helps, teaches, trains them, and make sure that we are doing everything we're supposed to do. So the struggle that I had was not realizing early on the other skills that the military has given me that I could leverage. But as I continued on through my career and started talking about my previous days in the military, I'm like, oh yeah, it light bulb hits, and you're like, I've done this, I can do this. And then of course our adaptability. I'm what they consider here a jack of all trades. They can throw me in any role, and I'm going to figure it out, whether I know it now or not. I'm going to figure it out. But yeah, that's kind of my story on how I got here. It was a little bit more difficult, but programs like this, I think, can help lead the way.
That's awesome, Craig. You hit on a number of themes there. I especially liked your nonlinear path to where you are today, and then a lot of the those kind of intangibles you bring and just morphing your military skills. So thank you. Travis and Kevin, I'm going to toss this one up, see which one of you wants to take it first. We're going to talk about company support and culture. In what ways has GM supported your transition and growth as a veteran employee?
So as far as growth goes, right now, something I didn't bring up is when I first interviewed with General Motors, I did not get the job. They did not hire me. My interviewer wanted me to have a degree, so I went back and got my degree, and then I ended up interviewing again and got the position. One of the things that GM is helping with right now is, I'm going for my master's degree at this point, and at $9,000 a year to pay for that tuition is really helping me go out. So I ended up getting in here as a group leader. Within my first 2 years, I had excelled enough that I basically took on a shift leader role and got promoted rather quickly. But now I'm, if I want to advance my career as far as I want to advance it, I need to get that next bachelor's degree, and GM is really helping pay for that.
Awesome. Travis, anything to add?
One, I really liked it because they found out my skills. They call me Eagle Eye. I have eye for detail, and very, very attention to detail. And I can walk by a vehicle and sometimes just notice if it's missing something, if it's out of alignment. And I've caught a lot of things. We started from the ground floor on the way up, and I catch a lot of things before the customer does. And like I said earlier, the customer is my brother or sister in arms, and they're going to be in a good vehicle. And I was a mechanic for years in the civilian world. I was a mechanic when I was in the service. I'm blessed with good hands and good eyes for doing this, and I just like to do the best job that I can, just because, like I said, it's not about me, it's about the customer. and I want to make sure I do a good job. And I really, really, truly enjoy what I'm doing. And they've noticed my ability and put me in the right position to do that. So I'm very grateful for the team that I have here. They noticed my skills and put me in the right place. So
That's great. Yeah, we really, I mean, hopefully you're hearing it from all of us. We truly do try to put the customer at the center of everything we do. And especially in the case of GM Defense,
mhm.
there's a lot of veteran employees in GM Defense, but all the employees definitely put those service members at the center of everything they're doing. All right, I do want to get to questions from folks on the line, so I'm going to make this kind of a lightning round. We have some transition advice down there at the bottom of the slide, but 30 seconds or less. We'll go probably left to right. I'll give mine first and then go Craig, Travis, and Kevin. At least that's how you're showing up on my screen. What advice would you give to veterans? Or are there any misconceptions about transitioning to civilian employment that you'd like to address? My personal one is there at the bottom below my picture there. This was advice passed to me, I think, in TAP class, if they still call it that, but it was basically treat your transition in your job search as, if not a full-time job, at least a part-time job. You know, we all have the discipline to get up early, just block out that time every day to be consistent in your search and your follow-up. And you never know when you're going to find a breakthrough. And as you've heard here a little bit, you know, you may have what seems initially like a setback, but maybe it's just a pivot to another door. So, Craig, what would you have?
Absolutely. So mine's down at the bottom too, where you can rediscover your passions and things that you would like to do. Remember this. So I was a field radio operator. I'm not a dispatcher. I'm not working on telecommunications. So something that you got to remember is, hey, you're in the Marine Corps or any branch, you are a project manager. You are logistics, moving parts all over the country and other countries. So there are other skills that we are part of. Just remember everything you've done and what did you enjoy the most, and try to find something that falls into those lines. And like, think about it this way. I don't know if anyone was lawyer in the military, but when you get your law degree in the military, you could literally get a top case right off the gate. You've no experience outside of your degree, and now you're doing that. So being able to get that experience in the military from all angles, leverage what you enjoyed the most and focus on that.
Awesome. Travis?
Awesome. Mine's like the same at the bottom is below mine is never give up. Kind of like what Kevin did. At first he didn't get hired, but he did what he needed to do to get back on. And he got hired. Always make the best of the situation. Is no matter what the situation I'm at work, home, and I'm a father too, so I bring all that to the table. Is I try to make the best of it, and just enjoy it what I'm doing. Like I said, I have a very much of a passion for mechanical things, and I actually really do enjoy coming to work and being a process technician for a while. I'm in quality now. Is always look to try to do better in everything that I do, and try to just keep improving my skill set. So
Good advice. Kevin?
I would have to say when I deal with people, I want them to do more than they think they can. So I have this real goal of making sure that everybody succeeds. You know, and as a leader, and I think I'm a good one, but you know, I hope my people think that too. They need to grow their team. So I take the short-term pain to get that training done for the long-term skill growth that you can get out of the team. It helps them build confidence and it empowers them. And, you know, I do my utmost not to micromanage anybody. You've got to foster that growth and recognize people's strengths and let them just go do that stuff. And that's the only way they're going to learn, you know, and you have to understand they're going to mess it up. The first time they do it, it's not going to be right. You're going to have to go back and talk to them. And a lot of them will beat themselves up over the fact that they messed it up the first time. And you know, I don't push them too hard. I just want them to learn so they do it correctly the second time. And that has just created gains for us at the lab. I work at the engine development lab. I think I forgot to tell you that earlier. It creates gains for us at the lab, and our performance has increased simply because people are willing to go try to achieve something that they didn't know or didn't do before because they know they won't get in trouble if they mess it up.
All those are really sound pieces of advice. Thank you. So we're anxiously awaiting a first question. I'm going to keep talking here for a bit because I know there's always, I mean, this is a group of veterans and military connected people. There are not shy people in the audience, so I know we'll get one. Yes, thanks for flashing this up. These are all our socials as well as joining our talent community. And yeah, please connect with us there. I think you've also seen some of our LinkedIn profiles as well. Feel free to connect with those of us who've shared. Happy to answer any more questions. So until we get a question, I'm going to talk about our Veterans ZRG. We're all members of that. I don't know, maybe like through the great folks at Heroes Make America, you've encountered the term ERG or Employee Resource Group before, but I know when I was in my transition, I never heard of such a thing. But what I did get while I think I was finishing up on my final physical, I got a call from somebody at GM who was a member of the Veterans ERG, and they were just asking me, hey, you know, how you doing? I was moving from Virginia to Michigan to start my job there. They said, hey, I've got this guy lined up to be your mentor. He was also a Marine. He's been at the company for 20 years. How does that sound? And I thought, great. And that's the type of support that we try to strive for here as an employee resource group, is supporting veterans at any stage of their careers, but especially those who are just joining GM for the if they're kind of the start of their time at GM. So, I mean, day one, showed up, met my manager, got my laptop, I get online and like, I'm able to message and start having a conversation with my mentor, and, you know, met him later that week. So, that's kind of my story of the Veterans ERG. All right, we've got a couple of questions. From Timothy, I'm transitioning next month. How do you advise someone who has all of the, sorry, scroll up here, of the leadership and management skills, but not the education to approach employment opportunities? Anyone want to take a stab at that one, or I'm happy to as well?
Well, I suffered through this, so Timothy, I'll take a stab at this. Like I said, I ended up getting out of the Army. I went and got a dead-end job with a defense contractor that was relatively easy for me to do. And then I spent a lot of time doing my studies and finishing up college because I had finished the work that was needed of me that quickly. So but it really depends on what it is you want to do and whether they're requiring that degree going forward. A lot of smaller companies don't require a degree, but a lot of those smaller companies have their own drawbacks. General Motors does. I wanted to get in with a larger company that was more stable and had a lot of support mechanisms at it. So I went after that degree, and I think it served me well. So I would encourage you to go for that degree regardless. As far as leadership skills go, when you go for those interviews, I would just talk about your work ethic. A lot of us in the military have a lot of work ethic. You know, you tend to show up 15 minutes early because if you're not 15 minutes early, you're 10 minutes late. You know, we've got that mindset that a lot of the civilians out here that have never been in the military, they don't understand that idea. So the military background, it gives you that ability to persevere. You know, how many times have you worked with somebody you didn't like, or you did something you didn't want to do, but you still accomplished the goal regardless of your personal opinion of it. So I think work ethic is probably one of the greatest military traits that we have. We learn to work hard, and being on time. Even being on time is a small task. It really is, but it's important. And people will see you when you start work. They'll know if you're always the person that's early or always the person that's late. And those people that show up early all the time will get recognized, and sooner or later you will get a promotion out of it. But your question goes back into that whole, how do I get the job in the first place? And I'm terrible at being interviewed by others. it doesn't come across well. I guess I'm too blunt and straightforward. I don't know, but if I give me a chance, I tend to perform well. And so good luck on that.
Thanks, Kevin. We've got a couple others I'd like to get to. One from Rochelle. I'll hit that real quick. As far as folks in the audience being on various timelines, some maybe looking for work currently to 90 plus days out. When's a good recommendation to start applying for positions? I'll give you my advice. I don't know that this is necessarily the advice you get from everyone, but I was looking 3-4 months out. I actually interviewed with GM roughly 4 months in advance and got an offer 3 months in advance. Now that's probably not typical, but it goes to show that if you have the right skill set, depending on the urgency of the program or the business area that you're getting hired into, there may be a fit there, both at GM and with other employers. So I wouldn't hesitate, because especially if you're transitioning off of active duty, as folks on the call here have mentioned, the interview process can take a little while, and you're chewing into that time until those paychecks from Uncle Sam stop. So that would be my 2 cents on that. Another one is a required minimum time you must stay in a role before applying for a new position. Generally it's considered a year, depending on the business unit that you're in. That's not necessarily a hard and fast rule, but yeah, just kind of out of, like any job in the military, even you kind of learn it. And so it takes a little while to learn it, and then you want to be valuable to your team members. So generally that's kind of the focus there. I'll pause maybe while I'm reading some other questions, and Rochelle or anyone else, feel free to keep us honest on time here for when we need to wrap it up.
Nope, you guys are doing a great job. We've still got about 8 minutes or so, and I only need about 60 seconds to close it out. So
Yes. Okay, awesome.
Hey, Graham, can I?
Yeah.
As far as that minimum time required, I interview people for jobs, so I am someone who does hire. I tend to shy away from people that are switching jobs every 6 months, and you can see it on their resume when they give it to you. I've had this job, this job, this job. And the way I look at it is, well, if I hire them, I might lose them in 6 months. So I'm going to spend 6 months training them to do this. And will I actually get any work on the backside of that? And a lot of those other hiring managers probably look at it the same way. So having that at least 12 months or year, 2 years, 3 years will sit well with those people that are trying to hire.
Yeah, that's a great addition, Kevin. Thanks. A quick plug. I saw Emily. Please join our talent community. You can set up alerts there for types of roles that you're interested in. I'll maybe toss this out to the crowd. Richard has a question. I was recently laid off at 60 years old. I've been working in IT the last 8 years. What does employment look like for an older disabled Marine? Also, is there remote work? I'll say yes, there is remote work. And then I'll open it up to you guys for what advice you might have. I'll chime in. Richard, certainly there's opportunities for remote work. We have a variety of IT functions. Believe it or not, there's more IT to the backbone of this company than you would probably ever imagine. We have IT innovation centers in different locations throughout the US. So I guess my general advice would, let's connect and follow up more. We have several veterans in IT. John, who was on earlier, is fairly well connected in IT as well. So let's see what opportunities there are and what kind of a skill set match there might be.
And I was just going to throw out, since he mentioned age and maybe there being some concern about being older and disabled, I would say a lot of companies, we're seeing a lot of people retiring, and a lot of companies are losing a lot of that knowledge base as folks retire. So I think they're looking to really capture and hold on to as much of that talent as possible. So I would say don't be afraid, and you don't have to share any of that information, in order to prevent any type of discrimination. But I always tell people shoot for the moon, you land among the stars. So I say go out there, give it a try. and the right opportunity exists there for you.
Yeah, that's great advice, Rochelle. Thank you. Before I look at any other questions, any other things come to mind, Craig or Travis, that you want to add for folks here?
Yeah, I don't have an education. I mean, a degree in anything. And just for the other folks that don't have any kind of degrees, I started at the ground floor here, the process technician. I'm with quality right now. It's a great company. They really want you for what you can bring to the table. That's how I feel. I just prove myself, put my nose at the grindstone, and do my job and best of my ability. And I always try to keep the customer first, which it's easy for me because it's my veteran brothers and sisters. And just treat everybody with respect and do your best at your job. And like you were saying earlier, being a part of the military is being on time and willing to work when you're here, when you're working. And you know, like I said, you don't have to have a really high education, as in degrees, and it's a great place to work. I really enjoy doing it, and that's pretty much what I have to say. Sorry, I don't do this thing much.
I'm
Oh,
going
go
to
ahead.
piggyback off you really quick, Travis, because we're talking a lot about education, and you know, it's true for some of the roles that, you know, especially some of those more really highly technical roles, that a degree may be required. But because we're talking about manufacturing in a really big area, or role, I should say, that we focus a lot on across all of our manufacturing facilities, is group leader. This is a role where you do not need any sort of degree, and really you just need about 1 year of direct supervisory experience. That could be from your time in service, that could be in college, that could be any type of supervisory experience. And I can't underscore this enough. It is a fantastic role to get your foot in the door at GM. It allows you to grow within the company, and there are so many people that have joined General Motors that have stayed in manufacturing. They've left manufacturing and gone down the supply chain route, HR even. I have a recruiter on my team that used to be a group leader. And so there's a lot of different career paths that you can take by joining General Motors as a group leader. But going back to some of Craig's comments, full transparency, it's not an easy job, but the skills that you have gained and that you gain in the service set you up to be worlds ahead of your typical candidate that may apply to this role. So definitely consider that. And please understand that a degree does not mean that, you know, you are successful or can grow and advance in your career at GM, because that's not the case.
Emily, I want to, since you're kind of talking about that and we're getting to the apply and as we start to wrap up. So we've got a great talent pool on the call today. And let's say they do submit an application. What's the best way for them to follow up if they go in and submit an application?
Yeah, you're more than welcome to follow up with me. So I work with all of our talent acquisition leads and recruiters. I would just need to know the specific rec number, but sometimes our teams right now, it's a big but small TA team. And you know, if you're having trouble hearing back from someone, I'm happy to help bridge that gap. We do typically, especially in the Michigan area, just because of, you know, the name, we get a lot of applications, but we really have a focus on you know, the quality of the candidate, right? Not the quantity, not the first person that applies. And so if you don't hear from a recruiter, and it can vary, it may be a week, it may be 2 weeks. We also have what we call evergreen positions. So sometimes that's, you know, just in an effort, for example, like the group leader, to obtain talent, you know, when we're ready, because these positions are always becoming available. So it really just depends on the role. A lot of it can depend on how quickly or slowly the hiring manager is moving. But I am more than happy to kind of act as that bridge. If you do choose to submit an application, or you want to learn any more about our hiring process, don't hesitate to reach out. I'm more than happy to talk with any of you. And I know our VERG members are too, so.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Emily. And, as we wrap up the session here, I know we're right at our 3 o'clock Central Time. I want to first say thank you so much to the entire GM team that's on with us today. Thank you for your time. Thank you for your insights. There was a lot of really great information relayed from Travis saying, evaluate and recognize the skills you have that the military gives you, to Kevin really talking about how GM is helping him move forward in his career through some of those benefits beyond salary and hourly wages, right? Those things like tuition assistance and educational reimbursement. So we just really appreciate the ongoing support and you taking your time to be with us today. So we do have some next steps on the screen here today. So making sure that you're exploring GM's career website and connecting with the company reps and individuals that we had on the call today. Make sure that you're following Heroes Make America and connecting with our teams. We are going to launch a poll here in just a moment. And then join us next week for our next Heroes Connect as well. So thank you so much for joining us today. Please take a moment to complete that survey that has popped up on your screen. And we look forward to seeing you at the next event.
Thank you so much, everyone.